Fear not, denizens, parade is here, aka the bringer of rain, aka father of the sea and sun, aka king of the core. And today we have a special episode talking about The Penguin on HBO Max. But I want to introduce my illustrious co-host, host of the Celebration Cantina, host of the Acolyte episode by episode review, the Commish, Uncle Sheev on twitch.tv. We have Eli from the FAN Awakens. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. I never get tired of those intros, and I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about The Penguin, and I love this show just as a preview. So it's going to be a fun one.
I agree with you as well. And before we get into that, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. You can find Reigncore on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what you thought about The Penguin as we go through this review of the whole entire season. Also check out my Etsy, where you can find cool stickers, Reigncore, and some Star Wars ones. That will all be in the Linktree description below. And then also visit reigncoreclothing.com, where you can get cool geeky t-shirts like the one Eli is wearing. He is wearing the Fallout Reigncore shirt, and I'm wearing the beach tee. And you can get those shirts as low as $19.99. So with all that stuff out of the way, Instagram as well, also in the description, Fan Awakens stuff as well. Eli's doing cool videos about Star Wars Celebration and movies, things like that.
I just launched the fanawakens.com again, so that's up and running. There's not a whole lot on it. We got a couple posts there talking about Star Wars. I'll be updating on the news, Celebration, movie reviews, all that fun stuff.
Nice. Keep them accountable. Make sure you support the Fan Awakens there, because Eli does some great writing. All right, The Penguin, the TV show. It was first started in the Batman 2022 film. Go ahead.
Spoilers?
Oh, yeah, 100% spoilers.
Okay,
We're 100% spoilers. Everyone who's watching, please watch the show. It's amazing. As we get into a spoiler reviews, full spoilers, we're not holding back. So watch the show, come back and watch this review. But Batman 2022, give me your elevator pitch review for that show. Or that movie? Jeez.
I think it's the Batman we've always wanted. I do think that's the most detective Batman movie we've ever had.
Yes.
I love The Dark Knight. I love the Nolan trilogy. It's grounded. This feels even more grounded in a way. Well, still, I mean, the end of the movie gets a little, Batman superhero-y. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But I do think that this movie has possibly, now that we're 2 years removed, possibly overtaken The Dark Knight as my favorite Batman movie of all time. Okay. I think the score is fantastic. 100%. I love the broodiness of it. He's just the way he works with the Gordon throughout the film, really kind of getting into the detective work, and it's this mystery and sort of I don't know. I just think that they're building off of this to the next one, right? Yeah. And with the Penguin, the next one, I mean, Matt Reeves has never missed for me. I don't think he's ever missed. So I think it's the best. It's my favorite Batman movie of all time. And I'm not taking The Dark Knight lightly. I think it's amazing.
I will say the Batman 2022 is my favorite Batman movie outside of The Dark Knight, which is a Joker movie, and I don't think Christian Bale is a great Bruce Wayne. I think Val Kilmer is a better Bruce Wayne in my opinion, and because he's a detective. If the world's the greatest detective...
Val Kilmer. Is he a better Bruce Wayne or a better Batman?
He's a better Bruce Wayne than
I feel that.
Christian Bale. Because I mean, what does Christian Bale do as a Bruce Wayne? Nothing, really.
I thought he was a fine Bruce Wayne. I think that when you compare him to Heath, it is tough because
it's a Joker movie, man. Like who cares about what Bruce Wayne's doing or Batman's doing? But yeah, hot take picking the Batman Forever movie. But I mean, that was when I was a kid, so it has a special place in my heart. Even like Two-Face, Jim Carrey is a ridiculous movie. But I liked his Bruce Wayne if we're just talking about Bruce Wayne. I don't think Robert Pattinson's a great Bruce Wayne either, but the Batman is very cool.
See, that's the interesting thing about this too, is with 2022's The Batman, I don't think Bruce Wayne is hardly a character in this movie.
Correct.
He's Batman even without the mask.
Pre-Batman, prequel Batman.
Like he's Batman whether he's got the cowl on or not. Yeah. And I think that in the following movies, I assume we'll have to see him sort of fight with himself to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Which is the more difficult part. I love Michael Keaton, right? If I had to
Keaton's
rank
great
Batmans, that'd be tough. But you're right. Bale would probably be
Bale's not high on my list.
I have Affleck above Bale. No offense.
Yeah, same.
I love Ben Affleck. I don't think the stuff he had was great, but I think that he embodied that role really
and he
well.
kills people. He ran over a man in a semi-truck.
I also want to be clear. If you're asking me who's the best actor out of all these people, it's probably Christian Bale.
Oh, but, yeah, probably.
Like, so no disrespect to Christian Bale.
No.
But
the character of Bruce Wayne,
he's probably lower on the list.
Yeah, and I mean, because I think there's a different ranking we'll have to do for like the Bruce Waynes, and a different ranking I would do with the Batmans.
I agree.
And I don't know if we would include every animated Batman, but Kevin Conroy is my Batman in per se. My Bruce Wayne in the movies would have been Val Kilmer, because he's like figuring out the riddles and everything, and like I thought that was fun for the time. Cool. But we get introduced to the Penguin in the Batman 2022 movie, played by Colin Farrell, and you can't even find this man. Colin Farrell does not exist,
dude. No. And
he deserves his flowers. It still irks me. I can't remember who was talking about it, but when they switched him in the Grindelwald,
talk about that all the time.
Fantastic.
I'm not even a fan of the movies, and that irked me so much.
Why? Why replace him with Johnny Depp? Because Colin Farrell's awesome. I like Colin Farrell. I'm surprised it's taking this long to get him anywhere, and I think Hollywood has been kind of pushing him down after like SWAT, Total Recall. He was Bullseye in the Daredevil. Speaking of the Batfleck, right? This man does cool moves. Like he's a star, but they just haven't really been given.
He runs into the same issue as like Kate Beckinsale's and even Brad Pitt for a long time.
Yeah.
Or like where they're great actors, but even Kate Beckinsale, I love Kate Beckinsale, right? She was just in another movie with Ray Stevenson, R.I.P.
Oh, yeah.
This is his last movie. It came out on Amazon. The movie's horrible.
Oh, okay.
But like I still watched it because I think she's great.
Yeah.
I want to see Ray Stevenson's last movie.
Yeah.
But like, he's like, he looks like a Hollywood star, you know? And so it's like, what do they cast him in? You're going to cast him in like a juicy character role? Probably not. And he had to put on a suit just to do it.
Yeah, I know. I think he needs a better agent. Well, pre-Penguin, I think he would need a better agent, because my man can't get any good roles. Unfortunately,
he's been in a few good movies, but not like
nothing like.
I remember watching SWAT back in the day. I loved that when I was a kid.
Yes,
but
my dad watched it all the time.
yeah, dude. It's one of those movies that I can quote it, but
don't.
It's a bad movie, and like those are the roles. Total Recall, like you said, and he had like In Bruges. That's great.
Okay, I see that.
Those are few and far between. He's awesome. He's just he gets some
Alexander.
Movies.
Yep. Phone Booth, I think, was another big one.
But the thing is, like, now with Penguin, you look at you think about like Gary Oldman in The Darkest Hour when he played Winston Churchill.
Oh, right.
I see Colin less as Penguin than I saw Gary as Churchill, or like who played Dick Cheney in Vice. It's Christian Bale.
It was Christian Bale, yeah.
Christian Bale.
Great actor, Christian Bale.
And like you could see more of Christian in him than you could see Colin in Penguin.
100%.
It's incredible.
He disappears into the Penguin, which is crazy. Because I try to find him every time he's on the screen. I'm like, wait, are we sure that's Colin Farrell? Shout out. Also, he was an antagonist in Minority Report.
Oh yeah.
Enhance.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was telling my brother when we were watching The Penguin the other day. He's like, I can't believe it's Colin Farrell. I'm like, believe it or not, that's actually Colin Firth this episode. You just don't know. How would I know?
But Colin Farrell is amazing in this role. Man, what can we say about the Penguin besides him disappearing? I mean, the dedication it would take to put on the makeup. I think they said like 4 hours each time he would have to wear it, and I'm just like, dude, that's crazy. But yeah, he embodies this character. The way the story is written, it's fantastic. A villain story.
The cast of characters from top to bottom everybody's great.
Everybody's
dude. Great.
Everybody.
And Gotham as a city has never been portrayed better. Obviously, they go off of what was given to them from the Batman, which is great.
Yeah.
But we see so much of Gotham in this show, and it feels obviously it's a character in and of itself.
Yep.
I know it's obviously in New York. They got the New York plates and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but even like Oz and his mom talk differently than Vic, and they talk different than Christian Milotti.
Mm-hmm. Sophia.
Sophia, yeah, and it does feel like this is I mean, it's just a rich place, man.
A lived-in world for sure. Yeah, I mean, gosh, I don't even know where to start. The supporting cast is amazing. It's one of my favorite casts. This might be one of my favorite TV shows. I know for sure it's top 10, and I'm really trying to figure of all time. And I haven't watched a lot of amazing TV shows. I
no, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
And I'm trying to figure out if it is top 5 for me, because I'm trying to just think about what shows that I really, really love. And even though this is a villain story, it made me feel things. It made me react watching it in real time. Like the last episode, I was like, oh! And it made me feel things. When a show or movie can make me feel things, I really have to give it its due, because I don't really feel things watching it. And this show makes me disgusted, makes me laugh, makes me uncomfortable, disturbed, like a lot of those kind of things.
And sometimes it makes you happy, like when they turn the lights back on. And I'm like, oh, this is so nice. And then you're back to, it's real quick.
Real quick, just up and down. No, I knew that was going to be all bad news as well, getting Crown Point lit back up. But
it does make you sad, though, when you see, like, the joy in Victor.
Dancing with the mom. Oh, shout out, dude. Okay. Who is your favorite supporting character, acting-wise?
See, it's tough because everyone's so great.
I have my pick.
For me, it's between. I mean, I think that this is gonna be the biggest star to come out of this. I think will be Renzi Feliz, who played Vic.
Yeah,
so good, and he's done so little.
Yeah,
like he hasn't done. It's not like he's super inexperienced. It's first show or anything.
Right.
But I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be huge.
Okay.
Oh man. I'm gonna go with Vic. I'm gonna go with
you go with Vic,
man. I thought Christian Milotti was great. I thought that. I mean, really, everyone in the show was so good. His mom was so good. Oh my gosh! But if I have to pick, I'll just go with my boy Vic.
Yeah.
Yep.
My favorite character was Deirdre O'Connell, Fran. She kills this role, and how she has to play autism or not autism. Alzheimer's. She has to act that she has Alzheimer's, and then the relationship between her and Oz, and like you think they're like,
oh dude, yeah,
think they're mom and son.
Is incredible.
The way they wrote this show, I was just like, what? And I had a feeling that was gonna happen, and it still surprised me. And just even the way they shoot it in the final episode, where it's the young version of her, but you have Deirdre playing herself in those moments, and man, she's stellar.
I'm so glad they did that too, because she's amazing. Even the kid that played young Oz, hats off, he did a great job.
He did a great job too.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this show is that, I mean, there's a few things, but I think that even from going back to the Batman the movie. But through the show, they tell you who Oz is the entire time. Everybody knows who he is. Yeah. They tell you who he is constantly. And at the same time, they try and make you believe that he's not. Like, there is more to him. And sure, maybe on one hand there could be to a degree, but he is who he is.
Well,
through and through.
The sucky part, I mean, it's sucky, but it's great. I'm rooting for him. And I'm like, yeah, you're doing it. And then I go, wait a minute, you're a villain? I'm like, you're a bad person.
They made him a villain. I joked with my brother when we were watching it. I'm like, as we finished the final episode, I'm like, man, the people from Sony are probably throwing tomatoes at the TV. Like, what are they doing? If they wrote this, he would have ended up as Batman for the final episode.
They'd be like, oh, wait, we like this guy. He's going to be the hero. No, he is through and through the villain, and he hits his villain arc, like it closes at the end, and you're like, he is the true villain. And I'm like, where is? And it's funny because they were saying Batman's not gonna be in the show. Batman's not gonna be in the show. Don't expect him. And I wasn't. I actually try. Sometimes I think studios lie, and they'll throw him in, right? You know, like, oh, you'll see his silhouette or whatever. I thought the way it ended with the light in the sky, I thought that was great. But man, I wanted Penguin to get punched in the face at the end of this show, you know? Like, I'm like, where's Batman? So I'm like really looking forward to this next movie. And I love how this show is leading up into the next movie. And I was hoping that Marvel would do something like this with Disney Plus. Like, hey, here's a show, and then here's a movie. I hope they do that with X-Men, and maybe seeing the success of the Penguin and replicating this, because I think this is what is good for media and for the fan base. I am so excited for the next Batman movie. And I was excited after Batman 2022, but this makes me more excited to see what they do with the Penguin and in the Batman movie.
Also, I want to shout out Lauren LaFranc, who created the show, was the showrunner and everything.
100%.
I heard that Matt Reeves is very involved, but he was never on set or anything. You know, it was her running the show. So hats off to her. She did great.
Amazing.
But yeah, you're right. I think that, you know, they talked about how this show is going to lead right into the Batman, and how the Batman is going to take place during winter. And I think that opens up the option for so much great imagery, right?
Yeah.
But I remember, I think it was, second to last episode or third to last, when it transitions into snow, you know, the season changes. And I'm like, oh man, I'm just so excited for that movie now. And I just think that to have, I mean, Marvel, obviously, they used to always, one thing would lead into the next, would lead into the next, would lead into the next. And that stopped with Endgame. But that model worked forever. And obviously, this is very different because it's much smaller scale, but it's really the same.
Yeah.
You have a movie that leads into a show that leads into a movie, and they're both so far 2 for 2. Amazing. So I think this built hype, right, for the Batman 2. The Batman's box office was fine, but it was right like COVID times.
Okay.
So, you know, I think this next one has the opportunity to make a lot of money.
A lot of money. I have to apologize to the fan base where I did do an episode 1 review, and I was like, I'm kind of cold on this show. And then I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do more episodes of review, because I was like, I might, and I just wasn't into it on the first. I gave it like a 7, I think. But the show ramps almost to a 10 by the end, right? If not a 10. I haven't really thought about the score till now. I don't think it's perfect, so it's probably not a 10, but it's pretty close.
It's really pretty good, though. I do think that I've watched a good amount of shows this year.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite. I have a few more to go, but
okay.
I mean, I like it more than House of the Dragon.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about putting those two.
I think it finishes much better than House of the Dragon.
Yeah, because House of the Dragon leaves on a cliffhanger, and it doesn't feel like a
cliffhanger. And it, you know, they have said they cut essentially the final.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a complete season, but this does. This does. And so I'm like, I wish I continued, and it wasn't until episode 4 where I was like locked in. Because I think 1, it has a little bit of slow burn, building the universe, showing us who Vic is, and I'm like, oh, Vic seems like the heart of the show, right? Like he's the guy who grounds, you know, Penguin into the morality. And again, I'm forgetting that Penguin's a villain, right? Because I'm just like, it's an underdog story, right? He's just making his way through the top, killing me, bad
Vic.
guys.
It's you and me.
You and me, Vic.
Just us.
You ever have a suicide before? But the hero of the story is Sophia. In my opinion, I think she's actually the protagonist of this story. If I had to pick one,
I don't know if there is a hero to this story. That's so interesting.
And I was rooting for Sophia to win something.
Sure. Yeah.
And what a tragic ending for her.
I mean, I love her arc too.
Her arc is great.
I've just become my father, you know. I've become the man that I did, like, you know, he always groomed me for this, and then I, you know, was so against him, and I dropped the name, but I'm still him. And so that, what a heartbreaking, heartbreaking
for her. And shout out to Theo Rossi. from
Big Theo Rossi
MCU.
fan.
He's in
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy, right? And what a freak this guy is. What a little skeevy little freak this dude is playing.
Weirdo.
What a weirdo. People are like, oh, is he gonna play what's the name of the character?
Scarecrow or someone, or what?
Not Scarecrow, Hugo Strange.
Oh, Hugo Strange.
And I'm like, nah, I don't think he's Hugo Strange.
No.
He's not a Hugo Strange. But what a little freak that guy is, man.
Dude. Especially in the end, I'm like, oh, he's just back at work. You.
He's a little simpy freak for Sophia. And then also shout out Clancy Brown. A full role for him. Like usually we just get like little cameos or voice from him, but I liked seeing him on screen. Michael Kelly, Johnny Vitti, what another great character for the show.
Also, Mark Strong stepping in. Sorry.
No, for sure. No, go ahead.
As Carmine Falcone, obviously he's a different person than Turturro.
Turturro, yeah.
But, like, fine. It didn't like that's a tough thing to, but no, he was menacing and
super
he was just cruel and and heartless.
The gaslighting that happens.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She goes, I went to go talk to the reporter, and he's like, you went to go talk to the reporter, huh? I think you're unwell. And it was just like, what? And I mean, if we're gonna talk about episode 3, her being in Arkham was terrifying and so sad.
It was.
And I'm like, I was disturbed. This was the episode that made me feel disturbed of how crazy it was. Electrotherapy, they're just not listening to her because her family was just like, you've crossed the line.
They've written letters and affidavits saying that, oh yeah, she's crazy.
She's crazy.
She's crazy. Her own family and she was innocent. And that's the thing that they layer throughout the season, with like, Oz sort of feels bad. He didn't know that they were gonna do all of that. He just was trying to, raise in the pecking order.
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe he did feel a bit bad. And then they have peppered scenes throughout where Oz never told you. I'm not. Oh, when he was talking to what's her name? His girlfriend.
Eve. Yeah.
Yeah, Eve. And she's like, Oz never told you. Like they keep Oz on enough of a moral line that you think, okay, maybe there's more to this guy. But then constantly the people who know him and interact with him, they know. Even when they're making deals, they're like, he crosses everyone he knows.
Yeah. They're like, we just love this guy. We just gotta keep doing business.
He can give a speech.
It's crazy how he weaves the lie throughout everything he does, and I'm like, dude, it's so on point and it's so good. Like even in the first few episodes where he's like, yeah, Alberto told me the drug thing, and he told me what the scheme is, and he didn't tell you, and like Sophia's questioning it and she doesn't believe him, and then like his whole scheme, like everything kind of falls into place, and it reminds me a lot of Walter White and how he's like the hero and then eventually the villain. But Penguin's way worse. I think Penguin's way worse than Walter White.
Oh, for sure.
And so,
'cause that's who he's always been.
Yeah.
Walter turned it. He was born the devil.
And then, I mean, and it just seals it where they show him killing his brothers and just leaving them to die, which was also crazy. And oh god, it's just so, so sick.
I thought that was a big, like, okay, so he speaks of, and I'm forgetting his name too, but then the little gangster who was
Rex.
Yeah, Rex.
Rex, yeah.
Throughout the season, he talks about him like a hero.
Loves the guy. Loves the guy.
That's who he wants to be. They threw a parade for him when he died, and that man was ready to kill the Penguin when he was a kid, just because I mean, you have two choices: you can foster him into this man he is, and maybe he'll make you some money, or we can take care of him.
Or we can take care of him. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, like that's his hero right there, And
but then
it's
like
fitting.
Francis is also sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she's like, I'm living with the devil, and she's considering killing her own son. And then how sick it is to like actually like, because like that's the moral conundrum, right? Like I'm watching the show and I'm like, yeah, you probably should have killed him, but I'm saying you gotta kill a kid. That's insane. To be like,
I mean, it's such a weird situation that I mean, your own son killed your other two. It's like
Yeah.
uh, that's bound to drive someone crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like it's still your child and you love them, but they're responsible for killing their siblings. And I mean, we haven't even gotten to the final stuff with Oedipus complex stuff.
Dude, okay, and so I asked you before we recorded if you watched the end credits or the
Yeah.
kind of recapping parts of the show, and like you said, you didn't. You said you don't want to be spoiled with stuff, and they did mention an Oedipus theme kind of with Oz and his mom, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And if you weren't really locked into, I think it's like 6 or 7, like the first when they show him dancing with her at Monroe's, the club. And then runs, oh, it's kind of like an Oedipus thing. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But when they lean right into it in the finale and he has Eve all dressed up as his mom, I was like, that's not like, oh, it's just a theme, like it's kind of a small thing, maybe not.
Oh.
When you see her just fully dressed in the same dress as his mom, I was like, Penguin is
And
sick.
speaking to him as his, if she was his mom, and
Yeah.
oh, this guy is deranged.
yeah. Like, where's Batman? Where is Batman?
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I'm ready for Batman to hit a 67 hit combo on this man.
Like, where's Robert Pattinson when you need him?
Here's a question though, that I was thinking about. Okay, obviously this is set as a limited series originally.
Yeah.
But success is
Successfully,
something that can, make those things change. So if they were to make a season 2, obviously a lot will depend on what happens in the Batman 2.
Yes.
But obviously most of the crime lords are dead. We have street gangs, but they've kind of set them up as not that strong.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting. I mean, just off of what we have currently,
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be great if instead of him going mostly against crime bosses, most of them are dead. What if he goes against Gotham PD? You throw Gordon in there. You can have Gordon have a bigger role. They're going back and forth against. I know they wanted to make a series, and I don't know if that's still happening or not.
Oh, Gordon
But,
show.
maybe you can blend those things, and I think it'd be fun to have, because Penguin. I mean, he's not a main villain here, right? He's not a Joker. He's not Ra's al Ghul. He's not the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
But he's great. He's a great character, and I think that's someone that Gordon could go toe to toe with.
As a Penguin season 2, is that what you mean?
Maybe, yeah. If that's what they want to do.
I have a feeling they would go, and I think this would be the wrong move, but try to do another series with another Batman villain. And I don't know if that's the right route.
Maybe. James Gunn, did you see him go on Twitter or X or whatever, Threads?
No, it is.
Because there's been a ton of rumors for like 2 weeks that they want to make another series like this, but for Joker, and he said no, none of that's happening. He said we're not talking about it. It's not. I think that, I mean, the Joker is not.
Don't do the Joker, man. Like, why? Horrible, why?
I mean, maybe it'd be great, but like, I don't want to say that'd be horrible. But he's one of those. He's like the last character I'd want a series fleshing him out.
Right. You don't want to. I think the fear of Joker is his mystery, kind of like a Boba Fett. The fear was the mystery of the character. And the mystique makes it interesting. And I think Joker needs to stay that way. But there's so many other characters you can do in Gotham. And I mean, I'd say like go, who would, I mean, can we do a Robin show?
I think that Gordon makes the most sense to me.
Gordon does.
Just because especially if, now I don't know, I know there's rumors that the Batman 2 will deal with the Court of Owls. I think that'd be amazing if they're in one of the movies. But I do think that there could be something special about what if they are in the third movie. I think if you did a Gordon show or like, Gotham PD show, and he's working on uncovering, just a string of things that leads to a hint at the Court of Owls or something, and then, Batman comes in the series, or it comes into the movie, and then, it kind of all blows up. But I don't know if it's another villain. Maybe we'll see someone new in the Batman 2, but I know that Farrell said he signed on for 2 more movies, so
nice.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do another season of the Penguin or with him around.
Yeah, I mean, with him around for sure. And I actually, thinking of the Gordon movie, that'd be a great opportunity to introduce a Barbara, right?
Yeah,
and say, oh hey, like she's kicking around and all that stuff. going back to the first few episodes, shout out to the Falcone family and the craziness that they had to go through with Sophia uh, being back. And I loved like the Hangman stuff was really cool because there was like a mystery there and like what's going on with her. And even they had that one guy from the Maroney family in the basement, and Penguin like has to stab him and kill him. And I'm like, how are you gonna get away with this? And they lock the whole house down, and he's able to weasel his way out of that. And then he like yells at Vic, and like while they're burying the body, and Vic's like, you know, it could be easily you there, and you see him pull him up, and he's like kind of taking him under his wing and stuff. And I'm like, okay, like they're kind of developing a relationship. Even Vic like trying to get a second chance with Penguin was crazy. You know, he's like, because we have a flashback episode to Vic and his girlfriend and his family, and then the Riddler flood, which looked amazing. That section, the freeway getting blown off, and then the flood. Like he calls his mom before he's like trying to tell them. Like it's like, dude, there's no way, man. There's no way. It was just all heartbreaking, and him making that decision to either leave with his girl on that bus or stay, and he chooses incorrectly, unfortunately. But what a cool arc that was, to see his beginnings, to see where he's at, and then to see him grow all the way up until the end there.
I love that, though. I love that they have this character that's here for not a long time, but he is a victim of Gotham. You know what I mean? He's a victim of Gotham. He doesn't have a happy ending. He's a character that I grew to love throughout this season. And you know, as quick as he was there, he's gone.
Dude, when go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. The conversation at the very end, where him and Penguin are sitting there, like, we did it. He's like, we did it. It's me and you. And I was like, this isn't gonna go well. And when he said, like, he goes, you know, Oz, you're like my family. And I was like, Oz killed his brothers. And we just saw a bunch of lieutenants kill their bosses. I'm like, Penguin's not gonna let that happen, and sure did not let that happen.
For me, they kept it. It's so nice that they, like, you look at it in hindsight, of course, but when he did begin to choke Vic, like, all of a sudden all these different breadcrumbs are there. You know, you think about him killing his brothers. They showed that, how that went down in the waning hours of the season. They also showed, you know, when Sophia and Maroney were talking when he had gotten out of prison, you know, and they're in the kitchen, and he's like, he's got to have, you know, a wife or kids or whatever. She's like, no, he has no one.
Nobody.
He has nobody. And of course they found his mom, but that's what makes him so dangerous too. He doesn't care. He'll cut anybody off.
Yeah.
And they showed it earlier in the season when they kind of found out when him and Sophia were on their knees outside the club, and he's like, what about Sophia? He's like, forget her.
Yeah. Go.
Obviously, there's more to that. She got ratted out. But still, like that, they've been showing who he is the whole season.
The whole time.
Saying, but they do keep, like, it feels like towards the end of the season, last couple episodes, they were really dropping those breadcrumbs as far as, like, it does not matter who you are.
Because I think it would be a different show to show the flashback of him as a kid earlier in the show. I like it towards this end because it's like,
I agree.
It really reveals the monster, and, you know, Frances making the mistake of not killing her son for the life that everyone had to live with Oz running around. But even just the small thing of him going into the wallet, looking at the license again, because that was how they met, where he took his license and got his name and his address, and just throwing it into the Gotham River, and now Vic's body is just there, unknown. Unceremoniously just choked out
the cold ground.
And just the way that Colin Farrell looks as he's doing it, I'm like, he turned into the Penguin, like just that angle that they used for his face and him scrunching his nose and everything. I'm like, dude. And just like at the very end where he's like in the tuxedo, the top hat, the cane, the penthouse, it was just like, oh, we're full Penguin now. The Penguin we know from, like, kind of the quintessential Penguin. But
it's interesting too. I'm curious how this entire series, like, what do they call it, the epic crime saga, I think they're calling it. But really, from the Batman, that takes place, you know, starts on Halloween, and this is, I mean, it's a matter of weeks, really,
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Um, and this is gonna go right into the next movie. So we're gonna have a show, a movie, a show, and a movie that take place over the course of 3 months,
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious if then the third Batman will also be like this is in January, February, or will there be a time jump?
There
It's gonna
might
be
be a
interesting.
time jump. I'm curious what they're gonna do, and I'm not really super familiar with the Court of Owls storyline, so I'm excited to see it on the big screen because I know people really love it.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I'm trying to think if, because like, do you think Sophia's ever gonna get out? You think we'll see her in a movie or a show?
So tough to say because obviously they left us with that cliffhanger of getting the note from
Selena
Catwoman,
Kyle, yeah,
and Kyle. I was mentioning that I'm like, that's her half sister. Like
half
I'm curious
sister.
if that's gonna come up, and
She could
I
pull
mean
her
it did
out.
come up in the end. Maybe I mean Arkham, maybe she can.
People escape from
But
Arkham all the
what's she gonna
time.
do with it? Like she busts her out and then
I don't know. Try to kill Penguin. It just doesn't make any
that's
sense. It doesn't make any
no,
sense
it's
for
pretty
what.
odd.
Because I feel
Uh,
I feel Sophia lost. Like she lost.
I agree. I
And
agree.
I was like, oh, I don't want to see her die. And then when the cops come and get her, and I'm like, I don't want to see her in Arkham. That's
Dude, it was.
horrible.
I mean, I gotta say, excellent writing though, and
Yeah.
excellent execution. The way that all the dominoes ended up falling,
Yeah.
with the gang leaders and
The
Sophia,
council member,
and it
him
was
giving the
so,
council member, like, hey, I want to get
so
into this.
good.
It's so good.
And what cool foreshadowing though when Oz is at City Hall, and he's like, "You gotta look the part if you want to, be around here."
Yeah, you get
And
cleaned up.
I'm like, "Oh, that top hat's coming."
And then even the top hat in when he was watching with his mom, the
Yeah.
episode's called Top Hat, where he's what is he like a Fred Astaire or whatever,
Yep.
and just him looking out the window at the rain, dude, that was
Dude,
sickening,
I
sickening. Because when he's talking
like,
about his brothers to Vic, he's just like, oh yeah, we used to play, and we used to hang out down here. And I didn't go, oh, he killed his brothers. Like, I just assumed they were all
yeah,
ganging around or hanging with the wrong crowd and, job gone wrong. But for him to be the perpetrator for their murders, insane. And then the reveal that Frances is having, like, when she's a hostage with Sophia, she's like,
oh man, that scene.
yeah, when she's like at the window, and going through it all. And I don't know how I felt about her seeing the ghosts of her son. I was like, I like the idea of it, but I don't know if I necessarily thought it was
Where's Ghost?
something cool to see. Yeah, for like a Force Ghost thing. I'm like, I don't know. Because I would have thought I think it just kind of takes it a level out, like a more supernatural than grounded, like the Batman in the show has been. I don't know if it's like a misstep, but I think it would have been fine if she just looked and said, Jack, Benny, like just talk to nothing like they
Yeah,
did show.
yeah.
I didn't need to see wet kids. Like, it reminded
Feel
me of
that.
like It,
I can see that.
Yeah.
Um, it's just I don't know. I think that even like this. Oh man, it was tough. That scene, when Oz goes to try and get, they bring him to his mom, and she admits,
Oh, yeah.
confronts him. I've always known, and
I hate you.
stabs him with the bottle.
That's where I screamed when she stabs him. I said, oh. I was like,
Dude,
she stabbed him.
it's long overdue, but
Long overdue.
it's, and I mean, just the way that even that storyline ends up with her as a vegetable in a bed, and he's like, I finally got it for you, Ma. I got it all. You're in your penthouse, looking over the city.
And she's
Like, oh man,
she's crying her to like a tear. I'm like, oh no, she's in there and she's not the life, because she asks him to kill her in that one scene, and we should have another breadcrumb. He's all putting on her makeup and doing. I was like, this is sick, bro. This is
yeah.
But like the feeling you felt, like, or I shouldn't say you. The feeling I felt when she was in the bathtub and she was in there too long and cold and stuff, and he's pulling her out, and I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. Like, this is a softer side of Oz, but then it's just like, nah, it's sickness, bro.
Knowing what
It's
you
sickness.
know,
Knowing what
yeah.
you know now, looking back, and I'm like, oh my God. What did you think of all the other gangs? I felt that was another weakness. Everyone who, like, the what they call it, the triads and stuff. I felt those were like kind of the weaker parts. I know what they were doing, and I think the payoff of watching the bosses get killed and the lieutenants taking over was cool. But to me, wasn't really that into it. What about you?
I mean, I think they're just less, less developed, less time to do so. Like I honestly would, I'm okay with that because I would rather those street gangs that are mostly inconsequential be less developed than like the Falcones and Sophia and um pretty much every major storyline I would prefer. I do think that and even to be fair, Oz kind of talks about it like when they are on screen when he gives them his speech, they're nobodies.
Yeah, yeah,
They're just around on the corner, This
Yeah.
is your little block and that's your little block. Um, but he that was a great speech too, man. It was with
A
the
lot of
beers
great.
and the he had a great speech with them, and even like man, once going back to sort of those episodes when Vic shot
Oh,
the guy from his
Squid.
neighborhood, man.
Squid. Woo.
Yeah, I'm like, man. I mean, it was an intense scene for me, and it did make me like, it kind of broke my heart a little bit because it's a turning point for that
Oh, for
character.
sure. For Vic, yeah.
For Vic,
I
yeah,
could care
and
less
like
about
with that.
Squid taking a bullet.
No, I don't care about Squid. I knew that was coming. I expected Oz to go give him some.
Right.
I don't know, but like, I mean, that was a turning point for that character, and from that point on, you know, it felt like, damn. I don't know. I didn't. It's not that I thought he was gonna die, but
Yeah.
I'm like, man, he's gonna lose some of that humanity and that heart,
Mm-hmm.
from here.
When
Even when he goes and talks to Oz about it, they hug, and he's like, it gets easier.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
not what you want to say. I don't want to hear
no,
that. You're gonna do more killing. Don't worry. Don't worry about
don't
that.
worry.
One thing I really liked is the juxtaposition from when they were Oz and Vic were at the really nice restaurant, and Vic's stuttering, and the waiter's like interrupting, and he's like, "Oh, you got to take up space. You got to take up space." I believe at the finale, the mom's like, "You take up like too much space." Like she says that,
Yeah.
and I was like,
yeah.
yeah, she just doesn't like this guy. Like just two separate ideals here, right? Where they're thinking,
It's a nice catch.
and the Maronis, the mom and the son's death, Taj and Taj and the mom got crisped up right there. I was like, and he's watching it happen. Oh man, it was like, dude, this is
Oh, and you're right. And then, okay, when he's fighting Maroni and he has a heart attack, and he's like, no, like, I beat you. I beat you.
I beat you. I beat you.
Yeah.
Which is a callback to like the Batman stuff,
The
right?
movie. Yeah.
When he's driving the car, yeah.
I'm like, oh my god. Like,
But then like,
drags him out of there.
I mean,
But
smart.
I mean, what a yeah. Go ahead.
It's smart to double
Using
tap
that for the
him
plan.
and flipping it for the plan of like, oh yeah, it was Maroney's down there selling bliss. Dude, I'm like, how's this all just work out for this guy, man?
He always finds a way to spin
Just
it.
finds a way
I
to
love that.
spin it, man. And the other crazy thing too is Penguin was about to die in the first episode, and Vic saves his life.
Yep.
By riding the stuff on the trunk, and Alberto's.
He saved his life a couple times. In the final episode, right?
I'm just thinking about it now. Yeah.
When he made that deal with the triads and with the younger gentleman in the triads.
The link
heads up play. And he was giving Vic some game, man, some real game.
Yeah.
And Vic was giving his rousing speech, and he walked up and he punched him, but he was saving him,
Yeah, he goes, you gotta shut your mouth or you'll take a bullet, And then Link calls him and is like, hey, there's a bounty on, Oz's head. Just, oh god. And even that scene where Sophia's burning her family's house down, completely finalizing the legacy, in my opinion, at that moment. And she's like, just steps away from the plane. I was just like, just let it go. Just let Penguin go. Don't bounty him, man. Don't bounty him.
Yeah.
And then he's just like smiling at her, and I'm like, oh no, girl, this is all bad. But I didn't expect.
I know, me either.
Didn't expect the leader to get shot. Zhao getting shot, and they just took out all her goons, and then she couldn't even get. She was just steps away from getting out of that life, dude. just steps away
He's
from
so
being Gotham.
excellent. I mean, I watch a lot of movies and a lot of shows, and nothing worse than when you can see how things are going to
For
pan
sure,
out, or you know how it's going to end,
for
and that
sure.
happens so often. In this, maybe you thought, okay, maybe you thought Vic's going to die, or this or that, or Penguin's going to cry. But like, no one knew how this all was going to unfold.
Yeah,
And I thought it was excellent.
yeah. It was actually hard to predict because at the beginning I knew Vic was gonna die. I was like, there's no way this kid, like as good and pure as Vic is, like and Penguin says it as he's killing him. You're a good man.
Yep, you're a good man. He's like, thanks. It's so, there's that. I saw so many, and I get it. You're grasping onto the character. But I saw so many people posting. What if he becomes Robin? I'm like, this man is not becoming Robin.
Not
And then when
Sophia
walked in, I'm like, she got a crowbar. Oh, yeah. I know the Robin theorists are gonna go
Oh
crazy.
yeah, the
right
Rob.
now.
I didn't put two and two together for that. Yeah, that's a good one.
I was like, they're gonna go crazy after this one.
Oh man.
But I did hear that I don't know if it was Matt Reeves that said it. I think it was. Don't quote me, but I think he said they had tried and considered having Batman in the show and interacting with Vic at some point, but it never even got written. It was just conceptual, not even like written onto a page.
Yeah, I don't think it fits because I feel like Penguin has to go through this whole thing with no fear of Batman, just like really just trying to do his gang thing. Because I was trying to think that too. I'm like, could you interject Batman anywhere through this arc? And I'm like, nah, because Penguin would be too worried about Batman coming after him. But it's weird because he encountered Batman in the movie, so
he did.
I was like, what? And I can't. Did they say why Batman's not around? I
just assume that he's hurt because he took a shotgun to the chest, and I know he was still.
But he was on the
thing,
motorcycle at the very end.
Yeah,
but it was
I know, but like I feel like he probably had to. I just assume he was pretty messed up because he took that adrenaline and he was moving around, But
yeah, I think they said where he was in one of the after things, but I wasn't paying attention. I think they said he might have been in another country. Like there's a story thing for it.
Thankfully, it's a short amount of time, So,
yeah,
and it's right after, and a lot went down. So like I feel like it'd be pretty easy to come up with a reason that he's not there.
Maybe he has the Christian Bale Robo leg that I've been.
And he's gonna use it.
He's gonna use it this time.
Watch me kick this brick wall, and then never use this leg.
I'm trying to think of any other cool things from the show. There was a lot of good stuff. I mean, even Sophia killing. This is a good one. Sophia killing all of her family, but leaving the niece
scene,
alive. Yeah. And I'm like, this girl's a little too old to think that your BS is true. And then for the girl to be in an orphanage thing. And I was like, oh no, this is the Sophia's asylum. Like she even could see it. Like,
yeah, I love that scene. She was so great in that scene.
But I was like, this is bad. This is really bad. And her regret, like her having the panic attacks and the neck thing. And then she's like, Salvador. And it's like, it's me. Like he's dead, because Penguin calls after the heart attack and stuff. But I think it was a little too far to blow up Crown Point. I think that was too far, for sure. So I might have to rethink Sophia as a hero.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think she's a hero. I think everybody's a villain. I think
you think everyone's
Vic
a villain.
Was the heart of the story.
Yeah,
I think everyone's a villain, and I think that his heart was still in a good place, but he died as he was, on the verge of going down that path as well. And I think that's great. I think it's just that's what Gotham does to people. And he could have left the city, and he chose not to.
Yeah. And
the city killed him. I think that when you look at like the character of Oz, and I honestly think I think he's an interesting case because I think he can weasel around with Batman around where a lot of people can't. He'll talk to him. He'll find his way out of. He was insulting. You guys don't know Spanish, like El Rata,
El Rata. Yeah.
He seems like one of those cats that if Batman comes around, he'll try and find a way to spin it. If you can't try and kill him, and put him on someone else's tail.
Yeah, but now Oz is protected by government. So he's
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard to get him.
Cobb for mayor.
I have a feeling that's gonna happen for sure.
Could
Like
certainly could. There's some
Batman
foreshadowing
Returns, Batman Returns kind of deal.
Maybe.
Or, yeah.
He's big on respect and wanting people to know his name, and he mentioned the mayor, and they had that scene where he's looking at her as she was
it was cool. That was a cool little cameo. Yeah.
And I'm like, this just feels like he's looking at her position, not her. And that office at the top of City Hall.
Yep. And her above, right? Like still looking like past the street gang level and going for the top.
And the whole thing is he ended up where he wanted, in a penthouse at the top of the city. It's gonna be interesting. I'm so curious how they're gonna continue this character, because it seems like he's gonna have a through line for sure, whether it is a season 2 or not.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm sure he won't be a huge thing in the Batman 2, but I'm sure he'll be around. So,
my question is, do you think we'll ever see Oswald Cobblepot or Oswald Cobb in Arkham? Do you think he'll ever get arrested and get?
I feel like justice? He'd go to Blackgate, and that's something that I also liked about the show. They showed Blackgate and Arkham, and the differences.
Yeah.
Like the crime families were all in Blackgate, except for the Hangman, because they thought she was a psycho murderer.
She wasn't. That little thing.
But I feel like Cobb would go to Blackgate.
Yeah. There's still a lot of Gotham that they could explore. I like your take on having Gordon explore that side a little bit more too.
Yeah. I just think Jeffrey Wright's so great.
Yeah.
And we really didn't run into the law much, I know they had their hands full with everything. I guess, you had the flood happen and all that kind of stuff, and there's so much corruption and everything.
Yeah.
I think that even if Lauren LaFranc wants to do that, or, really I trust whoever they hire. I think this world is ripe for a limited series for Gotham PD. I'm so into that. That'd be my ideal next series.
Yeah, because they had the one detective who was a druggie. He was a drip head. And then they had the other one with a weird voice. I can't remember his name. I can't find him really quickly in the IMDb credits. But they had a few from... And, Sophia called him out like, oh, you're just checking to see if your checks are going to clear or whatever. And he was like, okay, I got you. And
it's and Renzi now, I almost think now he can do whatever. He can do whatever he wants. I've heard his story. He's great. I know he's in that Marvel show, The Runaways. Like a year into his acting, trying to become an actor, he got that show.
Yeah, nice.
Now he killed this role, and I know you see the Miles Morales fan castings.
Oh, really? And, interesting.
And I heard him talk about it, and I love his take actually. That he's 27 right now, and he's like, if they want me to do it, sure, I'll say yes, of course. But like, by the time you would think a movie like that would be made, I'd be in my 30s.
Yeah.
And like, that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense.
No.
But it's one of those things like, damn, if only he was 10 years younger, that'd be perfect. But I think I want to see this dude in everything. Really this whole cast, but I think that he's probably the one that's gonna. I feel like he can either be in like, and he could star in stuff, or he could be more roles like this that are like, not that he's not starring, but the support roles are really juicy, like character roles.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Colin Farrell, the roles that he probably wishes he could do, but he always gets calls to be the star in these lackluster action reboots and stuff.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely keep an eye out for if this is a resurgence of Colin Farrell, which would be great, and Renzi and more stuff. I'd totally be down. Renzi in a Star Wars movie.
Of course. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Colin Farrell in a Star Wars movie. Let's do that.
100%. Christian Milioti in a Star Wars.
Christian Milioti.
Pretty much anyone in it. Mark Strong could be in a Star Wars. I could see Mark Strong as anything, but he'd be a great Imperial officer or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Clancy Brown's already in Star Wars.
He's already in Star Wars. Yeah.
Savage Opress.
You could just take.
You could really take anybody, really.
All these people and put them in Andor season 2, 3.
But But yeah, shout out to Johnny Viti too as well. Just the schemy little henchman there, and the other, what is his name? James Madio, who played one of the other Falcone family members. He was in Hook, and I was like, he still looks like the little kid from Hook.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but what a great show overall. I think can I ask you how high does this place in your favorite TV shows of all time?
Really difficult question.
I know.
Difficult question. I would have to put it. You go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say a few that I could think of. I'm like, do I like this better than Breaking Bad? Is it recency bias? I love The Wire, and that's another HBO show.
Seen The Wire. I know. Seen a lot. Haven't seen that.
That might be on our on
list we talked
the
about.
list we talked about. I'm calling it a little teaser. I'm thinking of calling it the Parade of Shame. The Parade
good
of
one.
Shame.
That's a good one. Have you seen Daredevil, all of it?
Yes. Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you put over or below Daredevil?
Daredevil's great, man.
It's great. It is great.
But the show's better. And I think because it's condensed, meaning we have one season of the Penguin where Daredevil is multiple seasons, and I don't think, you're comparing like what 24 episodes or 30 episodes or whatever to this, and it's so tight and well written. Where Daredevil's well written, but there's just a couple things in there that make it stick out as less than Penguin. Go ahead.
Also, I think the best 3 or 4 performances in Penguin are better than the best 4 performances in Daredevil for sure.
Correct. I really like The Punisher. I mean, if you said Punisher, that show's really great.
Yeah, it is. It is very good. Only one season too. Only one season.
Is there? So. Wow.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe you got a season 2.
I think there's 2.
Ooh, now
I think there might be 2. Or am I thinking of like him and Daredevil and then him having his own show?
Oh no, there's 2 seasons.
Okay. Yeah.
There's 2.
I thought so.
So then Daredevil is 3, about to be 4, right? Yeah. Punisher is 2.
Yeah. What are the other great TV shows? And
I loved just TV shows in general. I mean, Game of Thrones was for a time in the running to be my favorite show of all time, and then it kind of had,
and then it falls off on. But but
if you like take the first half of it, I think it's
I mean, Game of Thrones is still a really good show, incredible show.
But you can say about
is this better than Andor?
Is
this better than Andor? Might be better than Andor.
I will look. Here's why I may give Andor an edge.
Okay.
Because when you look at Andor, and this shouldn't be relevant to this, but it's just something I'm thinking about. Andor stands out a lot amongst the other media within its world.
Correct.
As like a pillar of a lot of things. And I love a lot of those things that it's being compared against. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, look at my background. But oh man, that's a difficult one.
What's the name of the showrunner here?
Lauren LaFranc.
Lauren LaFranc. Could you imagine her making The Acolyte?
Here's the thing, though.
That was like I kept on thinking. I was like,
it might not have been any different because you never like. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if the filmmakers mean as much in Star Wars right now as because they've had plenty of people who I think are great otherwise, and then
Lauren LaFranc's pretty great, dude. This is like it's just so. It's like everything just fits really well.
But here's the thing. I talked about how I heard Matt Reeves was never on set or anything. It doesn't look like they had a lot of oversight. You don't have a bunch of hands in the pot. I mean, that wouldn't be the case in Star Wars. So, like, Lauren LaFranc, if you want to do Star Wars, I hope you do, and I hope it's awesome.
I hope you.
I'm just nervous that anyone I like goes to Star Wars and then doesn't get to. I'm afraid that it's not their vision that I'm seeing.
Real quick, I just thought about it. Like Lauren LaFranc, not doing Acolyte, of course. It's like, female showrunners or whatever. Sure. But I was thinking Lauren LaFranc doing the actual Boba Fett underworld story that they propositioned, and I never believed that anymore or whatever. Like, oh, this is the next show. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not gonna be. Stop lying to me.
Hold on.
Whatever show.
Wait a minute. What about, look, great in franchises, great in multiple huge IP, well, now huge IP to me, Planet of the Apes. What if Matt Reeves, you a big Star Wars fan, man? Like, are you a big Star Wars fan? Because I think that'd be awesome.
Matt Reeves, come over here. Let me talk to you.
And look, he operates in PG-13 and makes it like kids. Look, kids love the Batman. Adults love the Batman. Kids love Planet of the Apes. Adults love Planet of the Apes. You know what I mean? Like you find that medium.
Matt, let me come here. Let me talk to you. Come here. Let me talk
Matt Reeves can come over. Lauren LaFranc can come over. They could all come over. There, the whole team. We'll bring this whole cast, and we'll make whatever we want.
No. We have Kimberg. We're fine.
I did write an article about that on fanawakens.com. It's more so stating possibilities than a rant or anything. I note some positives and negatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the next Rancor show. We're going to discuss what the state of Star Wars at this point.
Always find a way to sneak it in there.
I had to mention that, but yeah, Matt Reeves needs to come to Star Wars, please, Reeves, please. It should be
after you're done with this.
Yes, he was in a lot of the after credit stuff for the show.
That's cool.
So I wasn't sure.
Watching then.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure. I haven't heard that he wasn't that involved in making the show, but he had some insight into the writing and of the episodes and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how involved he is. He said he wasn't involved. That was where they had him.
I saw an interview with Renzi Feliz, I think with Christian Harloff.
Oh, yeah.
And he just said that he never met him while making the show. Never met Matt Reeves. He wasn't on set or anything. But, like, Lauren would talk about things that they had, conversations about.
Yeah.
And, would talk about and with characters and whatnot. Which I think was interesting because I think a lot of people, understandably so, will assume that Matt Reeves was like there, every day.
Yeah,
I would assume that.
Yeah.
Because it feels like his world and everything. But that's, credit to Lauren.
Yeah, dude, she's
great work.
She killed it. I'm looking at her. She, her IMDb. She did Agents of Shield. She's known for Impulse and Chuck. And I didn't watch Chuck, but I know people like that show.
I didn't watch it either. Agents of Shield.
A lot of Agents of Shield. 48 episodes. Wow.
Some of it, I was really into that show for a while.
I was into that show, up until a point.
Same.
But yeah, shout out to the cast of Penguin. Shout out to the actors and the people who put it together because it is a damn good show. It's top 10 for sure. I gotta nail out what other shows that I can put against it. We've named a few here, and I'm trying to
look with shows. It's so tough for me because there's shows that if you ask me what's a better show, it's no question The Penguin.
Yeah.
You ask, is it in my top 10? I'm going to give you an example that I use a lot. Friday Night Lights. I love that show. I've seen it 6 times. Do I put The Penguin over it all time on my personal just enjoyment list? I don't know. Is it a better show? Without a doubt.
It's a really good show.
It's tough.
Better than Watchmen. Watchmen's really good, too.
Watchmen is very good.
It's all these HBO shows, man.
I've always said that Watchmen is in my top 5, and after it came out, I was like, "That's my favorite show of all time. That's my favorite show of all time." And I don't know if it is or not, but it's great.
You couldn't even name it tonight. Yeah, HBO kills it.
And hopefully this new Dune show is really good.
I'm not sure about that. Is it better than Last of Us?
Yeah, I'd say yes.
Penguin's better than Last of Us?
No question. I like The Last of Us a lot, but...
Okay. Yes. Okay. Better than The Boys?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I really love The Boys.
Me too. I do.
Oh, Loki?
Oh, easily. I don't hold Loki as high as a lot of people.
I think Loki's the best MCU show.
Probably.
WandaVision's really good too. It's very close, but I prefer Loki over it. Sherlock.
Do you prefer Loki or the Penguin? I'm curious.
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like it's recency biased, but
sure.
I feel like Penguin narratively is tighter than what they did with Loki season 1 and season 2.
I just
Sherlock.
think that like
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sherlock. Oh, Sherlock's great.
Sherlock's
Sherlock's great,
top
man.
top show for sure.
I'm going to say Penguin simply because I love the world more than I love the world of like that we're playing with in Sherlock. I think Sherlock's amazing though.
Sherlock's
Uh,
amazing though.
but you haven't seen Peaky Blinders, have you?
No.
Because that one's tough for me. That is like 7 seasons compared to one.
Yeah.
But that show, it's close.
It's close.
It's close for me.
Interesting.
Same with like Sons of Anarchy. I love that show. Theo Ross is in there too. Maybe, I don't know. We're talking about 5-6 seasons.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide if it's better than The Wire or not. But The Wire has so many great characters in it.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's right there. Same.
How many seasons is The Wire?
4.
I think. Okay.
Yeah, and it's cool because each season is like a different like arc. And man, great show. That's a show I want to go back to.
I'll try and watch it before the end of the year.
No,
it'll probably be January. I'm cramming so much stuff.
Like we're coming into Oscar season for you.
Yeah, man.
And shout out to Fan Awakens. Wait for his Oscar reviews that come out. He does it every year. Gives his top 10s, and he watches them all.
Yeah,
I'm
hoping to have this year. I'm a lot more on top of it than I have been in years past.
Oh yeah.
So I'll have my predictions. I'll have, probably like a recap, and also I do it for myself all the time, but I will post my predictions officially before the Oscars. So if you're into that stuff, let me know.
This show is not better than Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's my favorite show of all time.
Oh wait, I was thinking the Netflix one. I'm like, whoa.
No.
I'm like, we've been live action so far. And I almost checked on you. I almost drove to your.
No. Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated show.
Show is great.
It's great. That show is great.
Yeah, that show is really fantastic.
Penguin's really good.
Well,
Penguin's
tricky.
really good.
That's the thing. We're talking about the best shows of all time here,
That's what I'm saying. What is it? I think Penguin might be top 10 for me. Just in the tightness of this season, it feels like a complete show.
Okay. I think we're gonna have to make our list for this. Not right now, but we're gonna have to do that. Personally, I think I'm gonna have to leave animation off just because it's gonna be too difficult.
Sure.
Because there's so many great animated shows.
I can't think of any.
And that's
other
just
ones.
me trying to make it easier on myself.
I can't think of any other great animated shows without its like problems. Because I thought like,
I mean, because if you're talking like, see the difficulty comes in also with sort of nostalgia to a degree, and like shows that, because are we saying the best show or my favorite, like the best 10 shows or my favorite 10 shows? This is very different lists.
I'm saying your favorite. Because it's going to be so subjective.
Yeah,
Another show that just popped up when I was looking. A lot of these I actually just came up from memory. A lot of the ones we talked about were from memory because they're not even on here. But one that is on here is Fallout, season 1.
I don't think it's close for me, personally.
No, it's not. It's not close. But I want to shout out to Fallout. Fallout's fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was a fun.
I'm trying to think of what other animated shows you're talking about.
Have you seen Chernobyl?
I started it, didn't finish it.
Well, okay, animated shows. I mean, I'm thinking about like see, now you're putting me on the spot. I'm struggling, but like Batman the animated series I loved growing up. X-Men '97 was fantastic.
Oh, X-Men '97 is really good, but I
like,
think Penguin's better than X-Men '97.
I agree, but like some of these shows that I grew up watching, or even not even grew up watching the last like I don't know how many years, you get this like I don't know, like The Last Airbender obviously will put a fork in some of that for me too.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite show of all time, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's my favorite show of all time. I could
think
watch
it's a
that
lot of people's
anytime.
favorite show of all time.
What's that?
I think that it's a lot of people's favorite. You know what I mean? For good reason. I've seen it multiple times through too. That's
what I'm saying. Like anytime, any portion of my life I watch it, I'm like, there's something good there. There's something you can learn. Yeah, it's so good. Music's great.
Did you see? Not that I'm saying it's the best show of all time or anything, but did you see that new Batman series on Prime from J.J. Abrams? And,
I did. Matt Reeves and Bruce Timm. I thought it was just okay. And
yeah, I think it's pretty good though.
I'll tell you why I think it's. I'll tell you why I think it's just okay. I thought it was interesting doing or showing or animating original stories like Clayface. Like that's his origin story. The problem I have with the show overall, the characters don't go a second layer deeper like I wanted to, like the way Penguin does. And Penguin's a great
for sure. I mean, definitely.
But like this is an opportunity to show that, and I just don't think the new Batman on Prime does that. Even the whole like little 100%. Thing with he's calling him Pennyworth, and there's a point where he goes, "Oh, Alfred," and I'm like, I didn't feel like that was earned or necessary to have like a conflict between them through multiple episodes, and then all of a sudden it changes, and then it's like your ghost episode. I'm like, I don't like the show. Like,
it's like for me, I mean, the Batman the Animated Series is like
great show.
I mean, it's up there for me, but all time that's what got me into Batman pretty much. But I was like surprised that I liked it as much as I did, because a lot of times, you know, it's inspired by and whatnot. That can, like, if it's not the same, you know, it gets you with that. But it's something that I feel like I could watch with like my nephew and get him into.
Oh, sure,
Batman.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're right. It's not The Last Airbender by any means.
No.
But I thought it was better than a lot of the animated Batman stuff they've put out in quite a while.
Right now, Avatar and/or Watchmen, I pick over Penguin, and that's just my personal favorite bias.
And/or Avatar, Watchmen.
Yeah.
I think I'd also. I agree. I agree. I'd have all those ahead of it currently.
And I don't know. Is it better than Breaking Bad? I think that's like the part I'm having trouble with.
I mean, the problem with the unfair argument there is that you have 7 seasons or whatever to build these characters in Breaking Bad, and you only have 1 for Penguin.
Yeah.
What's another? You know what? Shogun came out this year. Limited series might get a season 2 because of success. I think Penguin is much better than Shogun personally, and I thought Shogun is very good.
Oh, interesting. I thought Shogun.
I don't think he was great. I just think he was very good.
Oh, very good. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, and I know very good can sound great, but
the way
the way I am differentiating here, and I'm so sorry that sounded. I think Penguin is great. I think Shogun's very good.
Okay. I was like, oh, you really like Shogun? I liked Shogun just okay.
Yeah.
It's very...
The more I think about it, the lower it kind of goes for me. But
I just don't like the main character. I don't like the romance. I wanted more of the main character, and his name escapes me every time I think about this man. But I want more of him, and I hope they get a season 2 to just have more of him in it. But yeah, it just like kind of goes too long, and the main character is kind of unlikable in my opinion.
I agree.
Blue-Dyed Samurai for animated shows.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
I also really like I like the Castlevania series.
I didn't keep up with that.
They came out on Netflix. It's really good. Blue-Dyed Samurai is really good.
Peacemaker's really good. Well, I like Peacemaker.
Peacemaker's really good. I agree. And another thing, you know, James Gunn, he did that. I thought it was awesome. I thought his Suicide Squad was great. I think Superman's gonna be awesome. So I don't know. I think they're in pretty good hands.
Did you ever continue Westworld?
No, I watched.
I think I watched season 1.
I watched season 1 for sure. I don't remember if I finished season 2 or not, but I used to describe that show as like a shiny car without interior or an engine.
Interesting.
Because it's very expensive and it looked really good. I just thought, as far as like the story goes, it was kind of empty for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It went on for 4 seasons?
Yeah, something like that. Shout out to Jeffrey Wright.
It was interesting. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright. One of the big reasons I tried to watch it.
Severance? I didn't ever watch Severance. I've heard good things about it though.
I haven't seen it either.
Okay.
What's the other show that I fell off of that everybody? The big one on HBO. Business is like
Succession?
A family. Yeah, fell off.
I didn't watch it either. I don't know.
Wasn't for me. But
did you watch Sopranos?
I watched the first 2 seasons also, okay. I think.
Okay. I have never seen Sopranos, and I don't know if I should watch it or not.
I mean, yeah, you'll probably like it. It was really good from what I saw. I don't remember why I stopped watching it, but I really liked what I saw.
Yeah. So
Mad Men, I didn't get through all that. Yeah, but there's a couple.
Well, that was an insight of how me and Eli talk about TV shows and movies. We just rail off movies. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? And we kind of give our thoughts.
Do that for 2 hours.
Yeah, we can do that all day long. And there's talks of maybe doing a Patreon where we watch these shows and get them off our list and talk about them and do commentary and watch them along with the audience. But we'll see. If you stuck around in the video long enough to hear that, to hear us go through our what have we seen and what's better than Penguin episode, please let us in the comments what your ranking of this show is and where it falls for your favorite shows of all time, because I'm really curious. But I think I could confidently say those: Watchmen, Avatar, and Andor, I think I would rather watch than Penguin. It's just like my personal takes there. Any last thoughts from you, Eli?
Yeah, I think you're gonna keep me up at night thinking about my top 10 list, because I'm gonna try and compile that tonight because I won't be able to sleep if not. But you can find me at the Fan Awakens everywhere. The website's coming through, so go check it out. We have like 4 posts, but really 2 posts. 2 of them were more test posts, but we're on there.
Hey, yeah.
And we got a couple more coming down the pipe. Catch me on YouTube. We got some more things coming out there in companionship with the website. So you can find me at the Fan Awakens on YouTube and .com.
Perfect. And you can find me here on reigncore on YouTube and podcast networks, including Apple and Spotify and anywhere where you listen to podcasts. So with that being said, I hope you have a mysterious rest of your evening. Punch it, Chewie. Boom. Bye, guys.